I've skipped 2 days of content, maybe even 3 already, because I've been working on this. I have been doing some things around the map, and this is gonna be a video of the format of me sitting here working on the mission in the editor, and if you don't want to spoil it for yourself, I hope that I will be able to finish this one mission within the next 2-3 days, and if yes, then I'll put it as a pastebin link, and you'll be able to download and play it if that will be your desire. If not, then if you don't care about knowing what will happen, as in me saying it out loud, thinking what would I change, then I'm not the one to tell you what to do. I'm just saying, if you want to play this, it's probably better to watch this after you play the mission. If not, then go ahead and watch. Once again, that's just a suggestion. It's not like an order or anything. So far what I've done is I've progressed a lot on the triggers, which is why there's not much change on the map. Been doing maybe a lot of these triggers are actually not needed, but as said, I'm not used to doing the triggers. So like, this is the dialogue. This is like a 50-second dialogue which happens in the bottom right part of the map when player actually goes into on the edge of this region, right? So then the dialogue triggers, and this is what all I had to set up for that to work. Actually, I had to open Google, and I've opened Google quite a number of times, and Hive Workshop as well, to ask Turn Row for advices, hints, and solutions to my problems. As in, like, if I wanted to do something and I didn't know how to do that in the editor, then I asked him if it was something like more complicated or something that Google didn't have a straight answer. If it was like if it wasn't on the first page of Google results, then I asked Turn Row, because I don't have that much patience when it comes to working on something in like an editor or stuff like that. So if I can ask someone who definitely knows the answer, then I will do that instead of sitting at the Google. Right? Browsing through the Google. So I got quite a number of regions. I don't know what's the regular amount of regions per map, but I have set up quite a number of them for cinematic purposes, and also for some basic things like making units walk to a certain point and attack each other, and issue attack orders and whatever, and also to pause them from fighting each other and only fight once the player gets near. Should probably make that larger so that the player doesn't fuck with that. Yeah, there, because this area is paused, and it only triggers once the player goes over here. Once player passes through this region, and if by some miracle he would go to the right first, and then somehow magically go to the left without passing through the region, then all of those wouldn't fight each other and would just go after the players. So that's why I'm enlarging the areas, to make sure that those two will fight each other and the player as well. What else? Back to the triggers. So I've done a lot of work on the bottom right part. That there's a decision you can make, or you will be able to make. I can do it right now, the decision. It's working, but I am saying it like from the perspective of a viewer, of what will they be able to do. Like, why am I presenting this? What progress have I made? So there's a decision that a player can make, and it's a little obvious, but you can either join those, or you can join these. And the rewards differ. The teal will offer you some of this stuff. And purple, their reward will be... I have been thinking about the reward that they would give the player. I'm thinking it would be something more powerful, as it's like in the morale sense, it's the worst thing to do in here. I mean, I don't care about morale, but some people do. So in the morale sense, it's better to join these than it's better to join these. And I think that for joining the other ones, the evil ones, you could say, I think the reward should be a little bigger, because if you join teal, then I think it's... I have tried the playtesting, but since the last time that I playtested, which was like, how long? Several hours ago, I haven't had much trouble killing any of them, so I've added a bunch of units. And I don't know which one is it. Which side is harder to complete? Maybe they're equally hard to complete, but I want one of the sides, probably the evil one, to be more difficult, but also more rewarding. Whereas the good one, well, morally good one, there's no good or bad in here. It's just about morale, right? The morally good one to be less challenging, but also less rewarding. Maybe because it's like, you would expect that, like, they have bandit models, but they're not bandits. I mean, you would guess that bandits would reward you with items, yes? And that, like, cultists, necromancers would reward you with some sort of power, and not just items, yeah? So that's what I've been thinking. If I should make them give player an item, or like give the player +5 to all stats or something like that. Nothing crazy, because this is a side quest, yeah? This is just a side quest area that's pretty large, and I've spent some time on it. And I'm glad that I haven't deleted it, because at one point I was thinking, what do I want this area to be? And I was thinking of deleting it, and then I realized there would be like this much of the map, just trees, nothing else. So I said fuck it, and I took the time, and I think this is the area that took me the most time, because I've redone this area quite a number of times, but because this was one of the areas that I did at the start when I frequently asked Turner for advices. Now I don't ask him as frequently, but still. So it took me the most time, but probably only because I didn't have as much knowledge as I do now about the editor, how it works, etc. So I haven't deleted it, and I'm glad I haven't, because I'm just glad, because it turned out okay. So that's that. About the overall usage of space on the map, I mean, I think that with the addition of this camp, which doesn't have any story significance, it's not even supposed to be balanced, it's just like a surprise attack from the undead. Then I think the space is used pretty well. Sometimes there's like a bunch of trees and nothing else in that position, like over here, but I mean, here would have been a large forest area, which I've changed to be actually interesting to the player, so it's not like just trees, right? I mean, I don't know who would want to turn on a mission just to watch trees instead of watching like units fight, and then be able to join in and fight them. Basically what I'm trying to say is, if you want to watch trees, then you can like look up some images on Google, but I think that players shouldn't be bored in the map I'm working on, in the mission, so that's why I've done this. Did some trigger rework over here and adjusted the distance between the units. Before they were like right next to each other, but then it wouldn't make sense for them to actually speak, because I got a trigger that when player goes over here, the units are paused. They start paused. So when a player gets over here, those two speak. They speak to each other, and then they unpause. So now it makes a little bit more sense, because they're not like in exactly a firing range. They're very close, but they're not in the firing range as of yet. Maybe the elemental is, but that's just like a detail. I mean, I have put I would say I have put a lot into details, but like this one fucking detail is not gonna break my mind or blow my mind. I guess that's what. Actually, I should rotate that, do that. Yeah. Doesn't fit in here. Where would it fit? Nah. Has to be on the right side, because that's where the undead are. I guess I'll stick it over here, because I don't want to the player to be able to see this gap. So if you look from... That still looks weird. Why did I put this over here? I mean, I guess this looks weird the least. Come on. Come the... Okay, fuck that. Control Z. There we go. There. Solved. Also, when I was at the beginning of the creation of this map, I only had the blockers. Like, a player cannot go through this area because there's blockers that basically an invisible wall. And I thought, what sense would that make? Like, ogres would definitely be able to break through a bunch of rocks. So I've added force walls to certain areas so that it makes actually sense, because that's probably the only thing that an ogre couldn't go through with the use of strength, right? Aside from that, there's 3 Easter eggs. If you're not familiar with term Easter egg, then know that added 2 small groups of bandits over here, just like patrols. Not patrols, but like guards that are left behind when the bandits go out of the camp to attack the caravan, which is over here. If you're not familiar with the term Easter egg, it's basically something that a player can find while playing the mission regularly, either by an accident or by deliberately looking for it, like doing things they wouldn't usually do. And when they find that, there's no information where it is or anything like that, but when they find it, there's some sort of reward. Usually just like a small one, right? And I have 3 of them in the campaign. I mean, in this mission. And for finding each one of them, player gets a stat book +1. Strength, intelligence, agility, right? It's nothing big, but it's some sort of reward for you actually exploring the map instead of just going for the main objective. I know not everyone likes to explore, but I do, and I'm doing this mission the way I would want it to be. I mean, not absolutely, because I'm not the greatest at creating or doing things in editor, so I think I would want this to be a lot better than it currently is, but I know that, as said, my skills in the editor are not the greatest, so I'm sort of adjusting the map to match my skills. So it's not like something, so that like in my head, not the map. I'm adjusting my ideas in the head to match my skills, right? So at first I wanted some crazy things in the map, but then I realized how much work it would take, and I would probably have to take private lessons from Turnrow, creator of Malfurion's quest and other things, other campaigns. So I adjusted that, and I think it worked out pretty well. But there's also like the one question which I'm currently thinking. No, not one question. There's not question, but a problem, and it's not one but two. You see, I think that the mission looks okay, graphics wise. Don't mind those red units. They are. I put them around the map for test purposes because I have these region areas, which basically there's like a cinematic or some sort of dialogue that's gonna happen when a player gets into that region. So I have just a unit near each one of them to be able to quickly test how will the dialogue etc. work out. So I will delete those in the end. And there's two questions. I managed to solve one of... I said questions, I meant problems. I managed to solve the first problem to some degree, but only to some degree. It's not like in an okay form. So I have these roads that are spread throughout the map, and they sort of feel really empty, which is why I added these bandits over here and the bandit camp over there, because it's like I don't want the player to just travel along the road without fighting anything for too long, because this is happening in the mountains, and I mean, I would think that you could encounter some form of bandits in the mountains. So that's what I'm thinking of. I don't want the roads to be covered in bandits. No. I just want the roads to be some form of a challenge instead of just a way to get somewhere. You know, like the roads usually lead to points of interest. Like you go over here and you'll see a group of creeps on the right and undead versus wildlife on the left. You'll go over here and you'll see the fight over here. You'll go over here. You'll notice, like, so they lead to points of interest. But I would want the roads to be a challenge as well, not just to lead to challenges. So that's why I put this burnt out base over here with some dragons over it, some bandits over here, but it still feels kind of empty. So that's something I'll have to think about. And the other is there's this area where I haven't put anything, and it's a lot of space, but I have no idea what would I put there. I know how could I put it in there. I mean, I would make an entrance over here, because over here is a portal, so making an entrance over here or over there wouldn't be anyhow logical, so I would probably remove the trees over here, right, like this, then flatten out the terrain, so do same level, something like this, yes, maybe even do a plateau, like that, and then maybe add another bandit camp. But that's the thing. I don't want bandits to be everywhere. I would want to add something like this conflict as well, like another version of it, or some other enemy. But what other enemy? Like, I do have gnolls, which are in the Lordaeron area, at least in Warcraft 3, not so much in World of Warcraft. Although they are in some areas, but not as many. Spiders, yeah, they're not as common, but sure, they are in Lordaeron. But like trolls, that's like I'm running out of stuff what to add. I don't want. I guess what I'm trying to say is that I want every area to have something little unique to it, right? So, I mean, if I compare these two camps, right? This is a small camp, and the situation is that the undead got out of the portal. I should probably even add probably 2 more, right? Yeah, well, undead got out of the portal, and they're pouring in to attack this camp. And some of them noticed that, well, not noticed, some of them were commanded to get rid of those bandits, because they could theoretically at any point decide that after the undead clear out this camp, they would be next. So the undead take first step and try to get rid of them, right? Whereas if you look at this one, the bandits over here had no idea that the undead are in the region, which is why there are 2 portals opened inside of the camp, and it's sort of like an ambush, right? So there's a difference even in between creep camps. I guess I've put too much of my focus into details, but that's just what I think is one of the important features of a project. Details. So always details. That's why I've rotated all the units to face the point which I would want them to face, and even those workers don't just stand when the map starts, but they go and harvest lumber, right? Yeah, so I'll probably have a look, but I mean, I can start doing some stuff over here, but I think I would want to make this area only half of the size. Probably. Yeah, probably half of the size. See, one of the reasons why I was thinking whether I should record this or not was that I know what I want to say, but I don't know if I want to say it actually, because you know what, whatever. I think that when I launch the mission, I'm trying to do a playtest it as someone who hasn't seen this part of the development, of the creation. I haven't put trees everywhere because it would just increase the map size, but it wouldn't serve even a cosmetic purpose because player cannot see uphill or over a certain line of trees, over a tree wall. So that's why I just removed trees from some areas. I haven't terrained some areas which player cannot see, and all of that just to decrease the map size. And whenever I playtest the mission, and I try to playtest it as someone who hasn't seen this part, I remember that I have seen this part every time. I just remember that every time whenever I start the mission, and I sort of don't feel immersed as much. So that's why I was thinking that maybe I should make this video, because whatever. Alright, something like this. Maybe even I think just putting trees over here won't suffice. I think maybe creating a mountain of, a wall of cliffs. Cliff wall there. Probably a cliff wall that will lead something like this. Or down. Not sure at the moment. It's pretty clear that I do want this to be the entrance point. That's for sure. So let's remove that. I can as well remove those. Terrain. Same level. There. Alright. I don't want a plateau, but I don't want these big bumps. No. Because the units look weird when they walk over such. So let's just decrease it a little, so it doesn't look as weird. Now I think that the rest is more or less okay, with some exceptions. There. If you ask why are there the bumps in the first place, well, I used a professional technique, Kappa 123, where I selected the noise, selected the largest scale I could, and just did this. Alright, so that's why, right? Hey, please don't judge me. I mean, sure, judge me. I just wanted to say that I did that in my beginner's enthusiasm without realizing how much of impact did that action have. But in the end, I adjusted some of the bumps, and I think it turned out okay. So that's that. There. Trolls? No. Goblins? No. I mean, goblins. Gnolls. Gnolls? No. Kobolds? No. I don't think kobolds would. I mean, if I found on Hive Workshop a model of a World of Warcraft like mine, I could put that texture somewhere over here and then put some kobolds in front of it. Hell, I could even make a cave entrance. Kobolds. But could I fit a cave entrance onto a cliff wall? I mean, hold up. Do that. There's support columns. Oops. Haha, fear the wood. There's support columns, but I'm looking for a cave entrance. That's under environment? No. That's bridges and ramps. Are you serious? Is it? I know I've seen it somewhere, but... Wow, I forgot that these things even exist. Well, whatever. Not bridges and ramps. Not trees and destructibles. Props. Nah, that... Well, hold up. Let's first have a look into dungeon. That's probably gonna... Or, no, underground. There. Yeah, I can certainly see this area controlled by kobolds, but what would a large group of kobolds be doing in mountains above the surface? I do not know. Was it cliff and terrain? There, cliff and terrain. Right, could I... Yeah, I could fit a, no, not like that, like this. Yeah, I could fit a cave entrance into the terrain over here. Now the question would be, let's actually re-terrain this. The question would be, if I place kobolds over here, what then? Would they be with? Would they be fighting someone, or just standing in front of the cave? I mean, I think there's already a lot of fighting between neutrals and the enemies on the map as it is already, so they would probably be standing, just standing in front of the cave. But man, I mean, I have kobolds over here, but it's just like a small group. I don't want to leave this part of the map closed off either, like it was before with just some cliffs and trees. I mean, with cliff and trees. Because to me, it feels like wasted space if I don't use it. And this looks, I mean, this looks pretty solid as a entrance to some side area in the mountains, does it not? I mean, I think it looks a lot better than what I've done over here, where I've just deleted some trees. Maybe I should have a look into this as well, but problem is, I think this is just about right, because there's just a bandit camp, and they surely wouldn't want to do a lot of work just to get a place to set up their camp at. So I could put in, but would I? I'm thinking that I could put a sort of garrison, like more units from this camp, put them over here. No. I think this area should be with neutrals. Probably with neutrals. Well, I can think of that later. I think I'll save as it is now and have a look into the triggers. So I do have a rip for joining the good side. So when you rip the evil ones, morale, right? In terms of morale, not in terms of affiliation. Not there's no good or bad. There's just whatever. There's no good or bad. That's what I want to say. But to distinguish, right? For you to be able to distinguish, I just want to. You know what? Forget it. I just wanted to say that these are good and these are the bad, so that you could have an easier time distinguishing between those two whenever I say joining the good or joining the bad. That's what I wanted to say. There. Done. So, when the bad are killed, this tree wall falls apart. I don't know if there's an easier way to do it, but I just queued up every single tree in this area manually. It's not like absolutely manually, no. I just did one and then copied and then changed the properties to fit another tree, right? So that's that. I'm not complete noob, but as said, I would mark myself as a beginner, but I don't have a rip for joining the bad ones. Alright then. And I guess I would, in theory, I wouldn't need to set triggers for all of those to be killed. In theory, the side quest is about this fountain of health. The smugglers, that's who the teal are. Smugglers, the mages of smugglers, sensed the fountain and told their colleagues, and those colleagues lumbered out just the part of this forest just to get to that fountain, which was overgrown. Like there is a road that used to lead through this part, but was overgrown. See, and they've cut out the trees, and what they do is just they bottle the water and they sell it, right? They smuggle it through territories. They sell it in other regions, and they do that for profit, right? But when I said they're good, it's because they sell it. They don't keep it for themselves, right? They're making profit off of it, but they're helping in other regions, yeah? Whereas what those wanted to do, and they followed the mages, I think, they followed the mages, they want to corrupt the fountain and use its power for something else. So in theory, all I would need to do is set a trigger that player has to kill the veteran, because that's the strongest unit in the camp. Not the most useful, right? The deserter captains are very useful for the smugglers if you join the evil. But this is probably like if you put the unit solo against any other unit in the camp, the veteran would win. So I would probably just need a trigger to no, not just. I think I would need to set a trigger that all of these units should die, and after all of the units in this area, not in the whole camp, no, in just this area die, then the rip site for joining cult would trigger. Alright, so as lazy as I am, I will do it the easy way. So I've already done some stuff for rip of the bad guys when he joined the good side. So I'll just copy some of this stuff and change the values and adjust them. So that was this and these. So how many units? 35, that's 10. 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 21. 21 lines. How many do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Alright. Now if I... maybe I wouldn't even need to set the triggers for those, because in order for player to be able to get to the veteran, he will have to get past those. So maybe it's not even important to set those to... add those to the trigger. But I suppose that something could happen and the veteran could like go out on his own. Like if you attack a unit over here, let's say, then maybe he will go out all the way over here. So maybe setting up a trigger in which those units will be as well, because they're less likely to get aggroed and go all the way to over there. Should probably work. So, I don't have to change the equal to true. I just have to set all the units. Oh crap. I don't know how am I gonna select the crossbowman. I found that model in Hive. It's a pretty fitting one for what I'm trying to do here. But the problem is that the selection box of that model is like... Look, I'm clicking, right? If you don't believe me, just listen. Right? I'm clicking the unit, and I can't select it. The only other reason... the only other way to select the unit which I found out was this. But, as said, the selection box of the crossbowman is pretty weird. That's how I would put it. Alright. Let's set up the other crossbowman. There. Now set up the other group of the 5. Oh, and one more thing that I think I want to do. Hold up. What's fighter? Fighter is this one. Yes? Let's have a look at the number. 258. No, I've selected the same one again. Okay. That was the right one. Okay. Another thing which I want to have ready before I release this, even for just playtesting, even for beta. I mean, beta of a campaign which I'll probably never finish because it would take me a lot of time, and it maybe even wouldn't be worth the time in the end. But I I want to get a loading screen and some description for that. But I haven't actually downloaded the program which is for, I mean, assuming it is legally downloadable for use. I haven't actually downloaded the program because I haven't even Googled how to do it yet. I haven't downloaded the program for creation of pictures in the format that the Warcraft editor needs. Alright, have I picked the captain? Rogue, captain, no. Okay. So the next will be veteran. After the veteran will be maybe I wouldn't even need to put in the workers, but it will be awkward if I set up a trigger that the evil guys instantly move to the fountain to corrupt it, and there's still workers around the fountain collecting wood, so that's why I'm doing this. Alright. Only 3 more. Okay. So this is why I've been skipping gameplay uploads in the past. By the time this gets uploaded, probably 3 days. So, but I didn't want to make another video that's like 3 to 6 minutes long where I say some info, but I just wanted to show that I'm not just making stuff up, that I am working on this. I know I have mentioned it, that I'm working on this quite a few times already and haven't released anything yet, but that's why, because everything takes me so long. I got to a point where I know what I want to do, it's just that it takes me quite long. I mean, like, it's 11 minutes after midnight, and all of this took me 42 minutes to make. Like, I know I have spent about 20 minutes just talking about the things, but another 22 minutes took me to just make up my mind about the entrance. Not even about what's gonna be in here, or if I want any enemies to be in here, but just about the entrance, and about doing a trigger for 21 units. That there's not even any other commands, or I mean actions. There's just trigger, which asks, before continuing on, which asks if all of the units that I've put in are dead. Right, so just an example of how slowly I do things. But I think I would want to think that eventually once I release this, that will be once I consider it finished, or at least finished to a degree where I won't have to worry about something being absolutely broken. I think that it will be worth it, right? I think I've done an okay job. Maybe no, maybe I haven't, but I would want to say that I have, right? Oh yeah, what was that? More portals? That's a doodad, yeah? Yeah. Whoops. Control copy. Over here. And another one over there. I won't release this as a beta on Hive because I would have to I'd have to credit everyone, and I don't want to do that as of yet. So first, what I'll do is I'll put it into a paste bin and give the link to you, the viewers, to test it, and if it will seem good to you, then, and only then, not then and only then, but then I will consider uploading it to Hive and crediting everyone whose models or textures I used. So, anyway, that's it for an episode of my slow progress in the editor. Alright. I hope I haven't bored you to death. Anyway, I'll just set this to render and probably go to sleep. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed my very, very, very slow progress. Where is it? There.